Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be reviewing M Cosmetics' latest launch. We have their Cosmic Pearl Dewy eyeshadows. This definitely was a surprise launch to me. I didn't think single eyeshadows would have been their next release, but I was still excited for it and I was really curious to see what these were like. But I also did not expect to get the entire collection in PR. So thank you so much to the M Cosmetic team for sending me your beautiful PR package over my way. We have all 7 shades to talk about today. I was going to just purchase one myself even if I didn't get sent this, just to test it out because I just love M Cosmetics as a brand. I was really curious about this new single eyeshadow. So I'm happy that I have all 7 that I can share with you. We're gonna go down to the nitty-gritty like we always do. I have swatches on my hand, on my eyes. I have comparisons as well. Honestly, when I was planning for this video last night, I really did have my final verdict down, but this morning I filmed the eye swatches and my mind kind of changed. My final opinion kind of changed. So we're just gonna talk through that process and how I feel about these Cosmic Pearl Dewy eyeshadows. So if you guys are curious about them and you want to know my thoughts, then please continue watching. So first things first, I want to give you guys a quick breakdown on the Cosmic Pearl Dewy eyeshadows because I feel like M Cosmetics didn't really promote this as much. The first post I saw was from Trend Mood a couple weeks back, maybe not a couple of weeks, maybe just last week, but I only saw M Cosmetics post about it yesterday and it was pretty brief. They didn't really talk too much about it. Maybe Michelle would be posting a video today as I'm filming because I'm actually filming on the 9th, which is the launch day. So by the time you guys see it tomorrow, it would already have launched. This is the beautiful component. It comes in a square, clear, I think it's plastic packaging. I don't think it's glass. I'm glad it is plastic because I drop everything. I don't want to break this beautiful shadow, but it is really high quality. Like I have this single shadow from NYX Cosmetics and it's in a similar packaging, but you can see that just the M Cosmetic one feels and looks so much better, but obviously there is a big price difference. So these are $26 and there are 7 shades in total. And I did see some comments saying that $26 is really expensive for a single eyeshadow, which it definitely is. But if you do look to other brands that are in a similar price range to M Cosmetics, like Urban Decay or Too Faced, I feel like they're in the middle range. They're not like high-end luxury, but they're definitely not like drugstore. If you look to Urban Decay, their Moon Dust eyeshadow, which they did change the packaging to this and it kind of looks like this kind of component, so maybe this component is really popular for a single eyeshadow, but the Urban Decay one did change and these are $22 for one shadow. But the thing is with the Urban Decay one, you only get 1.5 grams and the M Cosmetics one you get 3 grams, so you get double the product price point. You know, it kind of balances out. But I think with single eyeshadows, unless it's a shade that you're using every single day, like this one, my favorite matte black, I have a big pan in that, then you'll never really hit pan on these kind of eyeshadows. So I feel like the pan size doesn't really matter too much, but if you do want to compare pricing and how much you are getting, it's fairly similar to some other brands. Like it's still expensive, but I think with M Cosmetics pricing, it makes a lot of sense. But in the PR box, it came with this little pamphlet and I'll just read a little bit to you so you can get a better understanding of what these dewy shadows are, because I also saw some comments saying like, is it like a super shock? Is it like a foiled metallic? Like what is it? I was curious too and I was really surprised when I first swatched these, so I'll read what it says. It says that it's created by combining lustrous pearly pigments with our dewy chrome technology for an ultra creamy Milky Way texture, resulting in the ultimate otherworldly experience. From shimmering champagnes to multi-chromatic pinks and satin coppers, your eyes will reflect an ethereal shimmer as it dissipates like a twinkling star deep in space. So they have this new dewy chrome technology and it will deliver a soft liquid metal finish on the lids. I kind of went through a lot of emotions while I was trying this, and I will say I haven't tried this for long. I got this in the mail on Sunday and today is Friday. So the first time I tried it was on Monday, I believe. So I haven't had this for long. I've only had a few opportunities to try everything, so please take this with a grain of salt. Honestly, take all of my reviews with a grain of salt. You know, I feel like sometimes you can try something at one point and then later on like you feel different about it. So that could be the case, but I just want to give you my first initial thoughts. So I thought these would have felt like a Super Shock shadow. I was trying to think of a formula that I could compare it to, and I think the best comparison that I could do is to Colourpop's, I think they called it the metallic foiled. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it was very prominent in the Mulan palette that they came out with last year. They have it in some other palettes, but I feel like after the Mulan palette, I haven't really seen this type of formula in Colourpop's recent palettes, so maybe they stopped doing it, because personally, honestly, like I didn't really like these from Colourpop. Although like when you swatch it, it is really nice, like it's really blinding, but they felt very chalky and very thick because the chunks are really thick. So I would say if you have tried like this formulation from Colourpop, then it is similar to the M Cosmetic one, but the M Cosmetic one is a lot nicer. It feels more smooth, it's not chalky, and you really don't need a lot of this product on your eye. You do want to use your fingers to apply. I think that's the best way. I feel like when you go in with a brush, it doesn't really pick up well. It's kind of like a Super Shock shadow. I feel like you just have to use your fingers, but when you go with your fingers, you don't need a lot, because if you do go in with too much, like it does pick up a lot and it can kind of crumble. So this one is Luna. This one is Luna, and this one is Colourpop. And Luna is what I'm wearing on my eyes right now. I try to do like the A-girl style makeup look. My first time sort of trying it, so excuse me if it does look a little weird, but I tried and I kind of like it. I feel like my eyes look very big and circular, but I did use a Luna for my highlighting. It's pretty much all over my eyes really. But for texture wise, if you want a comparison, I would say it's very similar to that, but just more developed and a little bit better and less crumbly. So the first time I tried these, I'll put the clip here. So I went in with the Faded Clementine eyeshadow palette actually, and I took the shade Eros as my transition shadow, and I just blended that into my crease using windshield wiping motions. Took that down onto my lower lash line as well, and then I went with Eden to deepen out the outer corners. I also took that onto my lower lash line as well. And then I took the Dewy eyeshadow in Star Child. I first tried to take this on my brush just to see how that would apply, and it didn't really pick up anything, so I just went in with my finger and applied directly, and that was so much better. And then I just went in with the brush to like further blend and have more control, because with my long nails, it's really hard to apply eyeshadow directly with my fingers. So as you can tell, it is very foiled, it is very metallic and very, very beautiful. I think it was very easy to apply, and it was really easy to blend out and use. And then I took Moonrise to highlight my inner corners, and I noticed that Moonrise felt a little bit different. It was more like gooey, but on the card here it does say to keep this out of excessive heat and keep it in a cool, dry area. So I mean, I got this in PR. This shadow specifically just came like this. All the other eyeshadows are perfectly fine, so I think if you don't store this well, it will kind of melt. But as I was applying these two on my eyes, although in texture they felt very different, and it's definitely more unique than a metallic shadow. I think once it's on your eye, it just kind of looks like a normal metallic. It didn't have like a lot of micro glitters like the Moon Dust eyeshadows. I think that would have been more unique, and I feel like these like micro glittered eyeshadows are really popular right now, but these are definitely more on that metallic foiled side, and I just feel like they didn't really bring so much to my eyes. So that was me the first time I used it, and then I used it a couple times in between, and I still felt the same. I was like, you know, this kind of looks like just a normal metallic. I don't think it's like really extra dimensional, anything like that. But then we come to today, and I did the eye swatches. So I just swatched it with my finger on my eyes, no eye primer. I was like, wow, like this looks like very dimensional, like the reflect is really intense. I think some are more intense than others. Some of them have more of like a satin finish, but I think just overall I'm like, wow, this looks really amazing on its own. And I think maybe when it's applied on top of eyeshadow, I think maybe it doesn't like show its full potential, but personally, I wouldn't wear just a metallic on its own all over my eyes. This is probably the closest thing I would do, is just place it at the center. But for the most part, for like the deeper colors, I would apply that on top of other matte shadows. I think it really depends on your makeup style and what you like. You know me, my preference, I don't really like single shadows. I do prefer palettes because I find them more convenient, and I feel like I just like having everything in one place instead of like opening up so many products. But if you do like a good single eyeshadow, just one swipe, you're good to go, then I think you'll really like these. I think the payoff is really nice, and I think they definitely do work better when you apply them on its own and for it to shine. And that definitely does suit M Cosmetics aesthetic and branding a lot more. I don't think it's like super outstanding, but it's not bad either. Like, it's beautiful, but like for the price, if I had to consider that, I feel like with the metallic shadows and their palettes work fine and kind of give a similar effect. You know, like if you wet your brush and go in with a pressed powder, you can get that very foiled look. So I don't think these were like extremely outstanding, but I still love them, and I will keep some of them in my top drawer. I think out of all of them, my favorite one would have to be Luna, which is the one I'm wearing today. I think it's the one I see myself using the most as like a highlight kind of shade. So I would say Luna is my favorite. But now that we have talked about the texture and sort of the formula, let's talk about the shade range, because a lot of these shades reminded me of the metallics they have in their 3 eyeshadow palettes. So I did do some comparisons, and after seeing those comparisons, they are pretty comparable. You know, some of them don't have comparisons. Luna is one that doesn't have any comparisons from these palettes. Like, Luna doesn't look like any of the metallics in here, but for the most part, a lot of the shades do look quite similar to some of the metallics they have in their 3 palettes. Maybe the undertone is slightly tweaked. So if you're looking at this new launch for the shades and not so much formula, and you already have some of their palettes, then maybe look at the comparisons and see if they are comparable to you. And I feel like we can really tell what kind of colors M Cosmetics likes to do, but I think for this collection it would have been really cool to see if they did more like jewel tone colors. I really don't expect M Cosmetics to do like a rainbow collection, like something bright that doesn't suit their branding, but I think with this collection it would have been a good chance to just introduce a little bit more color. Maybe something like a really muted olive green that is still quite wearable, you know what I mean? Like a jewel toned type of collection. I could see them doing like a dark navy blue or something, like nothing like bright, because I don't think that's really their branding, but maybe just like a different color story. So that would have added something different into their lineup, because I think for the shade range, there is just a lot of shadows that look similar to their eyeshadow palettes, but I'll let you guys decide if you guys think the same. Alright guys, so that was pretty much my review. I think that's everything that I had in my notes that I wanted to touch base on. If I did miss anything, or if you have any further questions, you can just leave them down below. I'll be happy to answer if I can help out. But I guess the final question to wrap things up, or what is my final verdict? Would I recommend these? If you asked me yesterday as I was planning, my final thought was it's not worth it, but as I was doing the eye swatches today on its own for them to shine alone directly on the eyes, my thought kind of changed, because I'm like, wow, these are really beautiful, and I think the impact is stunning. So I will say definitely case by case, and it's hard as a reviewer to recommend something that is really expensive. So I think just take everything I said in consideration, but also take that with a grain of salt. If I would have to recommend one shadow and you just wanted to try one, I personally love Luna, and it's the one I see myself using the most. It's the one that's very different from the other metallics in their palettes already. I think Luna, it just really stood out to me. It was a shade that I was most skeptical about, but it's a shade that I ended up loving the most. So I'll just leave it at that and leave it up to you guys if you would want to purchase this for yourself. I would love to know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this latest collection? I really did not expect single eyeshadows from M Cosmetics, but I'm always excited to see what they release, because I really do think they have a really innovative mind, and they do come out with products that are very different from what we see in the makeup industry. So hopefully this review was helpful. If you guys did enjoy watching, and if you did find it helpful, if you could give the video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.